Xfinity Live, just about live. Last out recorded by your Philadelphia Phillies in game number 3 of the NLDS as the Phillies take it over the Atlanta Braves 9-1. And incredibly, this time tomorrow, the Philadelphia Phillies may be entering the NLCS. And who'd have thought that after game number 2 as we welcome you to Phillies Postgame Live, presented by our friends at Cure Auto Insurance. Ricky Patalico, Ben Davis, Ruben Amaro Jr., all here and smiling. We'll go to the ballpark for interviews and analysis from the guys. And the 3 names that really rise above to me, you told me what you think. 1, Aaron Nola pitched his guts out, and he has been superb. Last game at Houston and then into the postseason. 2, Bryce Harper. He was amazing as well. And you got to give it up for Rhys Hoskins, who got the scoring start. Well, he was the second run RBI.
I'm going to go one further. I'm going to say Bryson Stott, 9-pitch at-bat in that 6-run inning. That was the start of everything. I mean, if he doesn't have that at-bat, you're not in that situation. Spencer Strider did not have good stuff in that inning. That was granted, but he left that one slider out over the plate after following what, 5-6 pitches off. Outstanding at bat by Stott, and yes, congratulations to Rhys Hoskins, because the naysayers went boo and then went, he's our guy. Yeah. He's our guy. And you know what? It showed. Did you see him spike the bat? That was fantastic.
Well, and hey, that's how we roll in Philadelphia. That's how he has rolled throughout this season, unfortunately. He gets you your 30 home runs, to be sure, has difficulty playing the position, but he got the runs today, Ben.
Yeah, he definitely drove in more than he let in, and he did let a couple in, or just the one in tonight. But you can't say enough about him. What he did, getting that first pitch fastball, that team as a whole, they smelled blood in the water, and boy, did they attack. They kept their foot on the pedal, and they just kept going, man. It was fun to watch. Some really good at-bats. Guys staying within themselves. When they got their pitches, they didn't try and do too much, but they ended up doing a whole heck of a lot in that lineup. It's fun to watch.
Typical Phillies in 2022. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of the most resilient teams I've seen. They'll have a bad game. They'll bounce back. They have a very short memory. I love the fact that these guys, you know what? They flush it. They literally flush it, and then they move forward. They do a really nice job of just playing baseball and not letting things bother them. Great job by a couple of guys. You mentioned all the guys. There's no question about it who did the job today. But such a nice job of resilience. And again, it's the personality of Rob Thomson, I think, that comes out pretty much every single day. That they are calm, they believe in themselves, and so does he.
All right, let's. Ricky mentioned Bryson Stott. Here he is moments ago on the field with our John Clark.
Bryson, in that 3rd inning, obviously Marsh gets on with the walk. Segura, I believe, an 8-pitch at bat. You with a 9-pitch at bat. How much do you think that affected him, weakened him up a little bit for Rhys?
Yeah, I mean, Strider's, he's unbelievable. And knowing he was coming off injury, we wanted to see a lot of pitches and kind of tire him out. And Gene had a heck of a bat, and then that pickoff was huge. Marsh getting all the way to 3rd. So just fouling off his tough pitches and finally getting a slider that I was able to handle.
Every one of the at-bats, other than Rhys in the beginning, he got a slider to start, but 4-seam fastballs. How much discussion was there? Was Rhys ready, basically saying, I think I'm getting a 4-seam fastball?
Yeah, I mean, we have all the reports and stuff like that, and we faced him a few times. And like I said, his fastball is electric, and you got to get to the top of it, and Rhys did just that.
What kind of moment do you think that was for Rhys? He's had some struggles at the plate and in the field, and we saw the spike.
Yeah, I mean, he just kept going and kept going, and I mean, he's one of our leaders, and we can look up to him. And even though he was going through a little rough patch right there, and to see him keep going and keep fighting and hit that big home run was awesome.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. You heard about what this environment was going to be like. Did it live up to it, or is it even better than you thought?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, they came out, and we heard them from the very first pitch. So, I mean, we heard a lot about what it's like here, and for them to show up how they did was pretty special, and we'll see them here tomorrow.
Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
John, thank you. With Bryson Stott, and as loud as it was at the end of today's game, and when Rhys Hoskins hit that home run, it'll get louder tomorrow. It'll get louder in the NLCS. They'll blow the roof off should they get to the World Series, and it's all still possible on, what is it, October 14th.
Can we please win tomorrow?
Let's win tomorrow. Yeah, Bryce Harper, that's an MVP performance. It's an MVP postseason for Bryce Harper so far. He had been injured for the better part of 2 months during the regular season. He comes back. We wondered where he was as of August 25th or 6th when he came back off the IL. Hits the postseason, boom, Ben.
And then he comes back in the 7th inning, hits another double to left center. And I mentioned it in the pregame shows. When he's going to left center, that means Bryce Harper is locked in. You leave something in the middle, yeah, he's going to yank you to right field. But the bottom line is this is what this lineup needs. And they need him to continue to stay hot and just, I mean, he's your guy. He's the 2-time National League MVP. Ride him while he's hot.
Was it Ricky or was it Ben that said he was going to come up big today? Was that you? Was that you?
Yeah.
Well, nice going, Ben.
That was you.
You're all over it.
I try.
Yeah, you owe him that C note.
I think
the
one thing that has to be pointed out here is I think we were all waiting for the meat of the order to finally start doing some things. You see Hoskins with the home run and RBIs. Look at even Castellanos, 2 for 4 with a couple RBIs. JT with a couple runs. Harper with the 3 RBIs. That's what you needed.
I will tell you that's one of the toughest things I think for a pitcher is to be able to sit that long and to come back and be fresh and be crisp. That was my concern. He came back into both those innings and pitched really well. Real impressive effort by Aaron today.
There are the numbers again on his last 3 starts, and not a run to be found in his ERA. 19 1/3 innings pitched, giving up just 11 hits in the span of those 3 games. No earned runs, 21 strikeouts, and 3 walks. And here's the thing, and we talked about this pregame, about whether as elite as he has been throughout his career, and he was a Cy Young contender, what, 2018 was that?
2018.
2018, he was 3rd in the Cy Young balloting. This would seem to be another notch for him. When you come out against Houston, your team needs a win to clinch a playoff berth, and you do it. You're in St. Louis, your team needs you, and you do it, and today it's the same, and those are still the defending world champions. You can't give them any room, any wiggle room at all, and he just locked them down, all 3 of those games.
He really hasn't even gotten into that much trouble in those last 3 games either. One of them, he had, what, perfect game through 6 2/3, I want to say. I mean, that's just impressive. I find when he goes out there lately, it's very ho-hum. Just, I'm going to go through to my business. I'm going to throw my pitches. I'm not worried about anything else. But the one thing that I noticed today is he got a read. He got a read on the umpire today. If you noticed, he was getting about 6 inches off of that one side, and he would go right back there with his sinker, and he continued to get it. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think that's, to me, that's brilliance out on the mound.
The other thing,
a 5-game series, excuse me, Michael. In a 5-game series, you go down 2-1 in a series, and it's pretty much going to be the end of your season. And I'm not saying today was a must-win, but it was pretty darn close to being a must-win. And Aaron Nola said, you know what, not on my watch. There's no way I'm going to let my guys down. And that was a huge game. And, now there's a little bit of wiggle room. Hopefully the Phils can finish it off tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But just being able to put his team up 2-1. It's like if you're in a 1-1 count, right? And you guy throws you a bad pitch, and all of a sudden you're 1-2, as opposed to you lay off that pitch, now you're 2-1. Now you're in that hitter's count. The Phillies are in the hitter's count right now.
I also like that they scored runs in another inning, and we've seen this in the postseason, not with the Phillies, but certainly with Toronto and Seattle. And there's no amount of runs that's enough runs in the postseason.
You got to step on their throat, man. You cannot stop pounding it, and especially with a team like Atlanta. They have no fear. This is a team that they're the world champions. They know how to win, and I was still nervous all the way up until the 5th or 6th inning because the game was still sort of in hand, but they tacked on those runs there at the end. Those 3 runs, I think it was in the 7th inning or whatever it was. That was huge for them to be able to do that, to kind of spread it out and put it to bed.
The one thing, hindsight being 20/20, and thankfully it worked out this way for the Phillies, is that Brian Snitker sends Spencer Strider to the mound. He had been out for the last month. He had an oblique injury. He hadn't pitched. We were talking about it watching the game today. I really did not expect this. I'm thinking, if this guy's in there, he's well enough to pitch, even though he's been away. Look at the times Harper's been out.
Yeah,
he got hit in the face last year. He comes back, and he gets the MVP.
He was well enough to pitch an inning or 2. Once he hit about 45 pitches, he was all done.
Yeah.
All done.
Right. And so, hindsight 20/20, do you go with Charlie Morton?
No, I think he did the right thing. I was surprised he didn't have a shorter leash, honestly. And when he started losing his stuff and losing his life there after the second inning, I mean, I just was astonished that they didn't even have anybody up in the back.
And that's Cranny over there. I would have thought Kranitz would have been on top of that. He was apparently they were not.
Yeah, look at the bottom line: 1.27 ERA. In 4 games, 3 starts. He had an appearance early on against the Phillies. In 3 starts, a 1.27 ERA. And I'm thinking, this guy has just devastated them. It's going to be more of the same today. They have a difficult time with him. They didn't today.
That's probably the reason why Snicker stayed with him, because he said, you know what, they're not touching him. And he's been dealing with him all year long. But, I mean, it kind of backfired.
It's also funny about, how things come back to bite you. He said, yeah, I'm 4-0 against the Phillies this year. I'm looking forward to going 5-0. Maybe that came back to bite him.
If the baseball gods were going,
it's pretty dumb to do that.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, you don't do it. We can do that. I can. You can't. You guys can't do it. You're all former players. Yeah. But I can do it, can't I?
You can do whatever you want.
Thank you.
Say whatever you want,
Reminder
Michael.
that coming up in just a few moments, we'll hear from Rob Thomson on this win. Who the heck he's going to put on the mound tomorrow? We can speculate all we want, but he's the man with the answers. We'll also hear from Bryce Harper and Aaron Nola. What a gem he pitched today. And even throw in Nick Castellanos, for goodness sake. How about that?
I just think it's good that these guys, even the guys that have been struggling a little bit, I think it's huge for Rhys Hoskins. That home run, that is big for him. Even Casty with a couple of hits. I guess that's 2 out of the last 3 games for him that he's been swinging the bat well. But I think when you get the middle of the lineup clicking for the Phillies, it's going to be grouping some runs as the series goes on.
Yeah, you look at this season series between the Phillies and the Braves, and the Braves took it, 8-11 were the Phillies against the Braves this regular season. And I'm thinking, they have beaten them twice in a row, but you don't want to have to make that happen. And so now, tomorrow.
This isn't at all mind-boggling to any of you that the Braves don't have enough pitching to go through a 5-game series and they just had a week off?
Yeah. Well, Charlie Martin's a pretty good. I mean, he's pitched in a lot of elimination games. I think he's.
Well, no, that's not really my. I mean, you're in Game 3 and you really don't have a starting pitcher to go.
Yeah, I think they could have gone with Morton, though. I mean, they could have gone with him, but
okay, so you're in Game 4 and you're still not really sure then.
And that's why there's such a premium on starting pitching, man.
Could have gone with Morton.
That's right. But I think
Morton.
Starting pitching is just too important, and it continues to be a premium. And you continue to watch these playoff games. It's starting pitching, starting pitching, starting pitching.
To the podium we go. Here's the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, Rob Thomson.
Rob, Aaron Nola has not allowed an earned run in 3 straight starts now. The clincher, the 2nd game of last series, the 3rd game of this series. What can you say about how he's risen to the moment for the first time in his career here in the postseason?
Yeah, I don't think you can say enough about it, really. I mean, his stuff, his makeup, his toughness, his resiliency, he's done it all. And I thought his stuff was really good tonight. I thought this curveball tonight especially was as good as I've seen it this year. Yeah, he's just pitched extremely well for us.
On the left. Rob, you haven't been here for their entire tenure, but you've been here for a lot of what Aaron and Rhys have gone through. How good do you feel for them right now that, they were the major players, especially early in this game, with this crowd after an 11-year drought?
Yeah, I'm so happy for them. Aaron's been here a long time and pitched, like in the Cy Young conversation every year almost, and hasn't had a playoff start to show for it until this year, and so I'm happy for him. I'm really happy for Rhys. Rhys is, he does so much in the community here. He's hit a lot of big homers here. He's taken a lot of grief since the last game we played just because of the error. So I'm so happy for him, and there again, there's toughness there, and I'm just so happy for both of them.
Rob, just your overall impressions of how the team attacked Spencer Strider in the 3rd inning there after how electric he looked in the first 2 and the success he had against you guys earlier this season?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got tired, but it just kind of looked like the stuff went down a little bit. And I think the at-bat that that really got us going was Stott's at bat, how he was grinding and grinding, fouling pitches off, and then I think it was a slider that he hooked down in the corner. You know, and then we just kind of added on from there. They walked Schwarb, and Hoskins hits the big 3-run homer, and then Harper follows it up with a 2-run homer, and you know, it was a huge inning, it really was.
Back.
Rob, do you know who's starting tomorrow?
Yes, Syndergaard will start.
And how big was it to make it through that game without having to use him, Falter, those guys? Yeah,
it was huge, you know, and getting the huge lead, we didn't have to use Sir Anthony, didn't have to use Eflin, didn't have to use Bellotti. So we're, you know, we feel like we're set up pretty good tomorrow.
With Syndergaard, is that like he's going to go 4 or 5 innings, or just one time through the rotation?
We'll see.
Yeah, yesterday, Rob, you said that this team, after that long road trip, you know, to get into the playoffs, and then those first 2 series in both St. Louis and Atlanta, needed that day off. How much of a difference did that make? Zach Eflin was saying that you guys came with a little renewed energy today. Yeah, we did, and I thought that we did need the day off at home just to clean up some stuff. You know, people have personal things to take care of, and I thought the fact that we stayed over in Atlanta and flew on the day off helped us out so that we weren't flying through the night. You know, guys don't sleep on the plane typically, but their kids will. And then you know, the kids are up in the morning, and now the guys can't sleep all day long. So I thought it was good that we did that. But yeah, I think there was a couple of things. One, we needed a day off for some energy. 2, the crowd gave us energy. I mean, that's as loud as I've been around, and it was just fantastic. They went from first pitch to the last pitch, and that was unbelievable.
I'm sorry, Rob, beyond Syndergaard, do the circumstances, potential clinch, potential Game 5 one day after, do they change how you handle your pitching staff at all, or the decisions you make?
I guess it all depends on where we're at in the game and what the score is, if that answers the question. Yeah.
I want to go back to the 3rd inning. You guys are an aggressive team normally, but you scored all 6 runs on 4 pitches. Was there did you see something there say, let's go get them first pitch each time? Because it was first pitch, first pitch, first pitch. Yeah, not necessarily. Yeah, not necessarily. You know, I think guys just saw some pitches they could hit, and they got after it, because that's how we sort of play it. We don't say, okay, we're going to work this guy, or we're going to be aggressive against this guy. We're going to get a good pitch to hit and lay a good swing on it. That's it. Okay, one last question. No. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Nope, that's not mine. Thank you, Skip. Rob Thomson talks about how happy he is for Aaron Nola and Rhys Hoskins, the players with the longest tenure in Philadelphia, getting to their first home postseason game and winning it big time. He also, I buried the lead, he also announces that Noah Syndergaard will start tomorrow's game number 4. He asked whether or not Syndergaard will go potentially 4 or 5 innings, or whether one time through the Braves lineup. He said, quote, we will see. We'll see.
Of course you're going to see. You're going to throw him out there. If things get even a little bit out of hand, it's straight to the bullpen. You still have, dare I say, Kyle Gibson out there. You have Bailey Falter out there. These 2 guys can take up some innings if need be in that game tomorrow. So, I mean, if things get a little shaky, you bring in one of your relievers that you trust with runners on base. Then the following inning, maybe you go Bailey Falter for a couple innings.
How much can you draw for his career numbers postseason, which are 2-1 with a 2.33 ERA, 7 earned runs allowed, and 27 innings pitched in 6 appearances, 4 of those starts?
Well, I don't know if he can draw that much.
He's not that guy, or he is?
I don't know if he can draw that much, because he's a completely different pitcher now. When he was in New York throwing 102, 103, now he's throwing 93, 94. That's a completely different animal. So I don't know how much you can really draw on those numbers. I just hope he goes out there and throws strikes. As Ruben said, he's had this experience before, so he has that pedigree. He won't go out there freaking out and say, oh, if we win, we're going to win the series. I don't think you can get too far ahead of yourselves with regards to Syndergaard, but I think you can take whatever he's going to give you and see how far he can go.
What if I said Zach Eflin should be your starter? He's been your long relief guy. He's been your closer. He's been a starter before. Put him out there.
I think he's in the right role right now. I really do. I think that's the place for him. That could have been a choice, but I like the fact that they're giving Syndergaard the ball. He may only have to throw 2 or 3 innings, but everybody's fresh. I think they have everybody ready to go. There's no issues. The fact that they have the day off and then Nola comes back and throws, 6 strong, and they don't have to use their plus guys other than, Brad Hand. He didn't really have like a super stressful inning. To me, I think it's the right call, and I think there's going to be everybody ready to go right behind him because I feel that this is a game sort of like a you can't lose game. I mean, I think you got to try to lock it down in this game as much as you possibly can. And if he starts to get into trouble early, I would give him the hook and I would move forward.
The star of stars of this game, though, is starting pitcher Aaron Nola. Here he is postgame at the podium.
You've been on a really good run here, but was tonight more special because it was your first playoff game at home in front of a crowd like that? And what were you thinking when you got that ovation when you came out in the 7th?
Man, it's so awesome. Yeah. It's been a while since we've been in the playoffs here, obviously, and to see the fans like what they were tonight is awesome, and the hitters, what they did tonight as well, just sparked it up even more, in my opinion. And it's just a fun night, and it's a great team win right there.
What were you thinking when you were walking off?
Oh, the ovation. Just kind of bummed I didn't get that RC out right there. Put a good swing on a cutter. Didn't get away enough, but that's pretty cool. Pretty cool that the fans, they stood up for me right there. It was awesome.
Aaron, you've been on this role, and this is a Braves team that you face a lot, all the time. You face them more than any other team. Does that change the way you attack a team going into a start like this?
Not really. The plan is to get the leadoff guy out and really execute all my pitches as best as I can. I know they're going to be aggressive up there and face them a lot. They know all my pitches. I know them as well, but it just comes down to executing.
Aaron, you had to answer questions about September the last few years. In October, you're haven't allowed a run yet in 3 starts this month. Just what has this month been like for you? And when you look back at how far maybe you've came from the way you know how to now finish the season.
I mean, I don't really hang my head on my Septembers. I just try to go out and stay focused and not try to be anybody I'm not, and try to make all my pitches. And I feel like I've had some bad starts then and some bad luck as well. But it's a new month. I try to treat it just the same as I do every other start. Try to treat tonight just like every other start. Try not to be anybody I'm not. Try not to do anything I'm not capable of doing or haven't done all year. Just to be myself.
Scott. Aaron, did any former teammates that were on the last time the Phillies made a postseason reach out to you? Anyone that you played with leading up to this?
I honestly hadn't checked yet. Hadn't checked my phone yet about that, but yeah, I mean, it's cool seeing on the video board some former guys that played for the Phillies and World Series team over here and been in a lot of playoffs, so it was pretty cool.
Were you able to talk to someone like Rhys about what all of this meant, being through some rebuilding kind of teams to get to this point?
I hadn't talked to him tonight. What a game by him, though. It's awesome. But well, obviously talking, we clinched the wild card and then clinched in St. Louis. Gave each other big hugs. But yeah, like you said, we've been on some teams that lost a lot and kept inching our way up every spring training. The team's getting better, the guys are getting better, getting closer as a group, and finally made that push this year. So it's been fun so far, but we got tomorrow to take care of.
In the back.
Speaking of Rhys, what did you think of his bat slam after the home run?
I was down in the tunnel actually, but that was awesome. I feel like you don't see that too much when they intentionally walk somebody in front of you and the next pitch hit a homer. I think that sparked everybody, and so happy for him right there. Big hit right there. I think that sparked a big rally.
That is as talkative as we have ever seen Aaron Nola in a post-game situation. Maybe it was the moment, maybe it's the fact that it's national television and national media, but he was very insightful regarding how he got it done. And the one thing I took from that, and you guys might be all saying that it's obvious, he said, they know my stuff. I know their stuff. It really comes down to executing, because if you execute, then that's the bottom line. They're not going to be able to touch me. He didn't say this is what I'm inferring. They can't touch me if I execute.
That's probably not what he's thinking, but I mean, in the right sense, you have to go with your best stuff, especially against a team that you're not going to fool. You're not going to trick. You're just going to, if you're on top of your stuff, if your breaking ball has got a good late break to it, if your fastball and your sinker have the movement that you want them to, he's never going to have a problem, because everything is very smooth with him. Everything is very pinpoint. If you notice, he'll throw that sinker on the outside part of the plate. It'll come back, nick the outside corner of the plate. The four-seam fastball up above the strike zone. He has a plan, and he executes his plan extremely well, and his mechanics give him that opportunity to do that.
Benny, he also said, I don't hang my head on my Septembers. I go out and stay focused and not try to be anybody that I'm not. And he did that. And he's done that.
It's refreshing to hear, isn't it? Because it's like someone saying, okay, Ben, go run fast. I can't do it. I'm slow as a turtle. So that's not, you like Aaron say, well, Aaron, go throw 100. He can't do it. So he's just going to stick to being what makes Aaron Nola the best part of him, or what he can do the best. And that's exactly what he did tonight. Just try and stay within yourself. That's what I saw out of the hitters tonight. They got their pitches to hit. They didn't try and do too much, but they executed. And that moving forward, I think you saw the interview with Thomson. You saw the interview with Nola. One thing I'm confident about is that this ball club isn't going to be overconfident going into tomorrow's game. They're going to put this game, they're going to celebrate it for a second, but they're going to go into tomorrow's game and be professional and realize, hey, we take care of business, we move on. They're not going to take anything for granted. That's what I like about this ball club so much. They have short memories, and they're very professional about what they do.
Back across the street, and there are two guys on the podium, two guys that were combined 3 for 7 with 6 runs batted in, and that's Rhys Hoskins and the reigning MVP Bryce Harper together.
Rhys, quite an emotional home run for you. Was it the moment? Was it kind of releasing a little bit of postseason frustration? What was all that about?
I think it's just the moment, man. This is obviously something that I've heard about for a long time. You know, debuting in 2017, seeing pictures, hearing stories, being around guys that were there in spring training, that type of thing. So, yeah, I didn't know what I did until a couple innings later. Really, it's just something that came out just raw, but God, it was fun.
On the left, Rhys, over here. You've been struggling at the plate, or at least you haven't had results at the plate, and you know, we talked about the misplay, I guess, or whatever in Game 2. Do you think that fueled your energy right then?
I think if we're at this point and you need something like that to fuel, probably not in a good position. At the end of the day, it's about winning games as a team for the Philadelphia Phillies. Sure, a couple things have gone awry and the results haven't been there at the plate. But I think the thing about a good team is that you're able to absorb mistakes as a team, and that's what we've done.
And Bryce, can you know, in that moment, you know, what is your reaction? And could you give us as a bat flipper, could you give us could you rate Rhys' bat slam?
No, I mean, I threw my bat at the same time Rhys did, and my helmet. So I was really excited. I mean, I think just having the opportunity to, like Rhys said, you know, be here and understanding why you're here, and playing as a team, playing as a city, playing for the people that, you know, are around you each day organizationally. You know, he's been in this organization for a long time, just like Knowles, and for those two guys to be able to do that in their first playoff game at home, it's unbelievable. I mean, I got chills sitting here thinking about it again. But it's just, it's a really cool moment. Just really cool to be part of part of it, and just have the opportunity to do it each day.
On the back.
Bryce, talk about, first of all, being able to, when you face a pitcher who's obviously going to hit a pitch count, how important was it to get to him as early as you guys did, number one, and number two, just talk about the position you guys find yourselves right now with a chance to clinch and advance to the championship series?
Yeah, you know, Strider's really good. He's been really good all year. He's had a great year. I'd imagine him and Harris, of course, are going to be, you know, up for the NL Rookie of the Year. And so we just tried to have the best at-bats we could against him, knowing that he might be on a pitch count, knowing that he might not, you know, go as far as they might want him to or he might want to or anything. So we were just trying to get the best swings we could on him, but go deep into counts too, because we don't want to see him, you know, past that second or third inning, of course, because he's very good. So being able to have that at-bat by Stott, I mean, that kind of, you know, erupted it a little bit, and then Rhys comes up, hits their 3-run shot, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. So having a rookie, you know, be able to do that for us is absolutely huge. Another, you know, Philly guy coming through, you know, homegrown kid. So really fun to be able to see that. And, you know, like you said, one game away. I mean, this is what it's all about. You know, we have an opportunity to clinch at home. You know, we have an opportunity to, you know, come out and, you know, hopefully strike first. And I mean, the crowd tonight was incredible. I mean, absolutely insane, electric, nothing that I could have ever dreamed about. I mean, it was, whoa. It was, I mean, chills again, because that was unbelievably cool. I hope it's like that for the next 2 weeks. You know, hopefully we're playing through this and doing this, and they showed out, man, and it was really, really cool. I mean, I can't stop thinking about it, gushing about it, because that was amazing.
For the amount of time you guys spent on the road near the end of the regular season in these first 2 playoff series, how much did coming back here energize the bats and get you guys going?
I mean, I think, look, we set out, what was that, 3 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
With the goal of being on the road for 20 straight days, right? Like, that was always the goal. As we got further along to the road trip, we realized that was going to be the reality. It's always good to be home, though, whether it's just sleeping in your own bed or being around the people that you love, just being able to walk into the clubhouse and sit at your own locker. I think it just kind of settles you a little bit. We obviously know what it looks like to hit here, know how the box is, all the little things that just add to the comfort of being ready to play. And I think, like Bryce said, right, like, we knew the crowd was going to be a factor, a huge factor. We'd heard about it, and like Bryce said too, it blew expectations. It was a huge part, I think, of the victory, because as stuff starts to snowball and they get louder, then more good things happen and they get louder. So see if we can continue that tomorrow.
That's how you break out slumps, right? Just feeding off of that, right?
Exactly. Energy, 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 energy. It's loud. God, it was loud.
So loud.
Back left.
Rhys, as you were rounding the bases, coming off, crossing the plate, looked like you and Bryce had a moment there. What did Bryce say to you?
What did I say?
We ain't losing.
Yeah, I did say that.
He said we ain't losing. He's been saying it all week. He's been saying it first day in St. Louis. That's just a belief, I think, that he has in us, right? Like, that's a belief that we have in each other. You want to do it again?
Let's do
it again.
Let's do it again.